PEGI 18.
After Ubisoft delayed Watch Dogs, its upcoming hackathon open world shooter, we were honestly a bit worried about how it would look after the 6 months delay. And you know what, this latest trailer, it's making us feel pretty confident.
Yeah, it's actually looking really excellent. I mean, you've probably seen some stories around people criticising the look and the sort of graphical fidelity. Did they deliver on what they promised from trailers back at E3 last year? And certainly if you took some of the stills from this trailer in isolation, you might say, oh, it looks a bit grainy, or that looks a bit flat, the textures don't look great there. But you have to kind of bear in mind that a lot of these images are kind of from a distance. There's all these sorts of things going on. When you look at the moment to moment, when you look at the action take place, when you see the close-ups, it's really still quite a stunning game.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the one thing that surprised me the most about this game is how it really does echo a lot of the sort of early footage we saw of Grand Theft Auto 5. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem for Ubisoft, is what we've always suspected was, how is it going to get out of the shadow of Los Santos, that big looming Rockstar shadow? And I think they're going to have to just go bigger and better with everything. I think that's the only way they're going to surpass it.
I think the key thing we're seeing here is just the levels of detail. If you look at some of the NPCs that they walk past the camera, they've got much more kind of expressive faces. They're much more individual than anything you would have seen in GTA 5. You'll certainly see the foliage looks a lot more detailed, grass is more detailed, the lighting looks stronger, reflections off water in puddles look even better than they did in GTA 5. So basically you're really seeing that kind of the extra power of next gen coming to bear and delivering something a little bit more nuanced, a bit more flavour, a little bit more texture generally. So this really quite incredible recreation of Chicago.
Obviously, it's not all about graphics. We've got to sort of touch on the gameplay as well. And from what we've seen so far, Watch Dogs is really impressing in the gameplay department. Driving in particular, we understand is being handled by Ubisoft Reflections, who obviously did Driver San Francisco, so that's looking great. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of the driving at GTA, so that's a welcomed move for me. But I'm still a little bit dubious as to the hacking mechanics. I'm a little bit worried. We recently did a big feature in X1, and sort of they've had to refine all the hacking mechanics to make sure there's not too many hackable objects on screen. I'm still a little bit worried that that's not going to come together, but we'll have to see.
I personally remain fairly hopeful. I'm particularly keen to see how the different gameplay styles can be accommodated. I think something Ubisoft have been talking about recently is how you can really play this game almost purely in a stealth way if you wanted to, hardly using a weapon ever, just always using environmental objects to block the cops from catching you, or infiltrating places. So that'd be really interesting, just how deep that can really go. But even if it's just 2/3 stealth and the rest you have to do action, that's still going to be more stealth than you would have experienced in most other sandbox games.
That's true, and I think again another thing we never really expected, which this trailer does give it just the slightest hint of, is just some absolute madness sort of creeping into Watch Dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get the chance to slow this video down towards the end, there's lots of quick flashes of action, and there's some really strange things going on that we still can't quite explain. We're looking forward to finding out much more about them soon.
Yeah, I think my favourite is either the sort of Spider-Man-esque Spider Slayer robot that's walking around, or the alien.
Yeah, we think that might be a VR game inside the game, but we're not sure yet.
But overall, Watch Dogs is coming out finally, May 27th this year to Xbox One, Xbox 360, and we cannot wait to see if Ubisoft can deliver on all of the promises it's made over the last 2 years.